I'm John Leiby, the Director of Behavioral Health here at Great River Health. I served for 8 years in the United States Marine Corps.
My position here at Southeastern Iowa Regional Medical Center is chaplain, and my branch of service was Army National Guard, both here in Iowa for 6 years and then also in Indiana when I moved to go to college. And my years of service is 9 years, plus another year of service overseas in Iraq.
My name is Jake Stewart. My position here is General Diagnostic Imaging Radiologic Technologist.
My name is Michael Yost, and I serve as the Health Systems Chief Human Resource Officer.
Hi, my name is James Mahaffey. I have been with the Health System since 2001.
I did 4 years of active duty in the Marine Corps Infantry, and that was from 2006 to 2010. Got out, was going to school, and wound up getting called back to see if I wanted to train the reserve units. So I did that for an additional 4 years.
My service in Iraq started in 2003, was living in Indiana at the time, and was a truck driver. That was my MOS, my military occupational specialty. About 11 months overseas in Iraq, was actually Camp Cedar, that was the actual camp name. My rank was Sergeant, E5 when I left.
I was in the United States Army and I served from 1981 to 1985.
I served on active duty in the Army for just over 6 years.
I have served in the United States military as a U.S. Army medic. I actually had 2 stints. One was from 1986 through 1992, and the other was more recently, 2003 to 2004.
My service, the first 4 years, I did a few combat deployments. First one was in Ramadi, just prior to the awakening. Decent amount of combat there. Wound up training the Iraqi police, the Iraqi military. Another deployment served as like a security element to get all of the equipment from Iraq into Afghanistan. Sitting up on top of my 50 cal and just kind of guarding all of that equipment while it went from point A to point B.
My role in the National Guard was combat engineer. You send these soldiers out and they clear obstacles like landmine fields and wire obstacles with explosives. And then when I went to Indiana, I transferred units, became an 88 Mike, which is a truck driver. And so I was specialized in hauling material with big, 18 wheelers.
I was a specialist 4th class. I was a radiologic technologist. I did have the secondary MOS as a combat medic.
While I was in the Army, I served as a human resources specialist. My first assignment was at Fort Riley, Kansas, as part of the 1st Infantry Division. And then I deployed for a year in 2007 to 2008, a joint unit in Afghanistan. And then I finished my military career as a recruiter, so recruiting for the Army.
My initial role, I was a OPFOR combat engineer and heavy equipment operator. What that basically meant is I was opposition forces, and during war games, I was a bad guy. I went out and trained soldiers how to prevent from getting ambushed. The second stint, I went in as a medic for the Army, and I went straight overseas during the invasion force of Iraq. Served as a medic for a little over a year. Second stint.
My time in the Marine Corps certainly shaped kind of who I am today. After getting out of active duty, a lot of friends that I served with ended up taking their own life. Did a lot of deep thought and was looking for a sense of purpose in my own self. I couldn't help my friends that had already made those decisions, but I knew I could help others going forward. So it pushed me into nursing, went into behavioral health for a little bit, took a bunch of leadership roles in my previous hospital. I was outside of behavioral health for a little while until I got the call to come up here.
The National Guard influenced my life, my current role, by opening my eyes to chaplaincy. There was a time when I was in basic training. It was 1997 when I joined the military. We were on this bivouac, which is like a big camping trip. So they get us all geared up and they get a camouflage on our face and we go out and do this camping trip. And mind you, this is my first time ever being away from home. So we get to the top of this hill and we all drop our gear and this chaplain comes out and speaks to us. And I know this sounds so cliche, but I was sitting there and this light just seemed to open up from the heavens, and I just thought, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. I want to be the person that's able to be there for people who are hurting and need a special touch.
My time in service influenced my life and my current role by making me grow up from a teenager, calming me down, which the Army has a tendency to get that accomplished. Going in, I wanted to go in the Army and I wanted to pick something that I was going to be able to do for the rest of my life. And I made a good choice of that because I've been doing it now for 42 years.
The military influenced my life in a lot of different ways. I enlisted just after I graduated high school. And there were a lot of things that I learned through the military and I still apply today in my life, which are things like values and skills and the discipline or work ethic. I know what it takes to protect our freedom, and I have the utmost respect and gratitude for those who have given their life for our country. Because of their sacrifice that we're able to live with the freedoms that we have today.
I encourage anyone, if not serving the military, at least to visit a third world country. I think you really learn to appreciate what being here in the United States means. The things that we worry about is, paying our cell phone bills, our TV, and all that stuff. None of that becomes important. I mean, none of those things are needed. You need shelter, food, friendship, and fellowship with your fellow man.
I feel that most veterans just want to be thanked. The veterans that came back from Vietnam were never thanked for their service. They were spat on, they were called names. I take it to be my personal mission to thank them and say, welcome home.
I would like people to honor veteran services, just respect the flag, thank a veteran.
When people come up and thank me for my service or thank others for service, I think that is a very important thing. It's great acknowledgement. When I have the opportunity and I see someone wearing a Vietnam cap, it's kind of sweet just to go out and pay for their meal without them even knowing it. I know for me, it really moves me when people do something behind the scenes. That behind the scenes stuff is very, very important.
For us, as we celebrate this Veterans Day, we should honor them through living with purpose in our lives, integrity, and giving back, frankly, to the communities that they fought to protect. Their courage is really what helps me to remember, and I hope others as well, that our freedom is not something that should be taken for granted.